you guys. Welcome to Yoga Pilates Fusion for Monday morning. So we're going to start in a reclining position. Now you can do either just lay down on the floor, or if you want you can do something under your back to kind of create this little bit of a stretch across the chest. I'm going to do that today with 2 yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, a rolled up blanket works great, or you can use a throw pillow. Just put the pillow down so that you have enough room under your shoulders, so you kind of put it on the diagonal. It'll work pretty well. If your head needs to stay elevated, then you can either lay down and then just elevate your head with a blanket, or you can add a little extra height to it, like this block is a little higher than this one, and that will get you in a similar position. So when you're ready, now, if I use blocks, I always put them up higher, so that really what's happening is my shoulder blade is laying on the block, because shoulder blade laying there, shoulder blade's relatively flat and wide, and it distributes the pressure across the block quite nicely. If I have the block any lower than that, it'll poke me in the spine, which I don't like as much. It's not quite as comfortable. And then I like the head a little higher. Some of you will find you prefer your head to be even with the shoulders, and that's fine too. And then you can do this with your legs, which is called constructive rest position, where you just put the feet far enough away that you can feel the legs kind of gently, the leg bones kind of gently hug into the hip sockets. You can extend the legs out. This makes this a little bit deeper back bend and a little more like a fish pose, or you can put the feet together with the knees open like butterfly wings, and that gives you a little bit more sensation in the inner thigh. So picking one of those options. And then always at the beginning, I like to spend a few moments really concentrating on breathing in such a way that in addition to doing deep diaphragmatic breathing, we also do some breaths that sort of open up or ask the rib cage to expand. The secondary breathing muscles are really important when we're trying to constrict the abdominals and breathe at the same time. And the secondary breathing muscles are all of the little muscles in between the ribs, as well as this little pectoralis minor muscle that lives up here. And then to some degree the muscles in our upper back help as well. So if those muscles are tight for whatever reason, like you've worn a bra for years, decades even, restricted the movement of your rib cage, can't imagine why that would happen, you might need to do a little effort to get the ribs to move. So just creating a little bit of like a structure around your abdominals, and then asking the breath to go in a little higher up in the chest. I don't like to do those every single breath because it's a little bit restrictive as the breath goes, but I do like to do them every 3 or 4 breaths, just so I get a little bit of movement there. Take like 4 or 5 more breaths. So I'm going to take this block out from underneath my head first. I'm going to go slow enough that it's not jarring. And then roll myself over to the side to get the opposite or other block out of there. Put that off to the side. And then once I come back onto my back, for me this feels really lovely. So there's a kind of, one, it's just the blocks kind of push me up and now my back is laying out flat. So that feels good. And then there's a sort of sense of kind of widening out or brightening across the chest, which I find really nice. So I'm often inclined to sort of move a little bit across those muscles. So you can do that. You can do little windshield wipers with your legs. Or you can just lie still if that's better. It also feels good. Now we're going to take the legs over into a twist. So if you want, you can pick the knees up, or you can kind of just let the feet hang out with the floor and then let the legs come over. You could wrap one leg around the other. I'm going to do that and add a little bit of a block to my situation here. And then, I press my elbows into the floor, lift my shoulders and roll them just a little bit closer to even on the ground. Sometimes as I take the legs over, the shoulders go too. So I get a really nice stretch through the side of my hip, and I've got a nice twist and a little bit of stretch in this pec muscle. You can turn your head with the twist or against it, or leave it more or less in the center. Take about 3 more breaths here. And I'm going to take this leg and bring it on back to the center. And again, you can pause and just rest, or you can do a little movement, whichever is more interesting to you right now. When you're ready, just take it to the opposite side. Same idea. So I fiddled around a little bit with this block. I'm kind of fiddling with my arm right now. And again, you can turn your head away from or into the twist. Take 2 more breaths here. And we're going to drift back to the center. Now, we're going to kind of repeat the motion, but in movement. So taking just a second to kind of return. We're going to pick the legs up. I'm going to back up a little bit because it's going to take me down my mat. So picking the legs up, we're going to take them over to the side. So I'm going to stretch my arms out. You can put the palms down if that helps you keep the shoulders stable. I press my upper arms into the floor. And then we'll take the legs over to one side. You can straighten out both legs, straighten out one leg, or if your space requirements are such, you can keep the knees bent, just kind of hug them toward the armpit. As you lower them to come closer to about belly button height and come through the center, pull the knees up into the chest, let them go back, and then bring them over to the side, curl them in or straighten out the legs. So that's the movement pattern. Over to the side, curling up the center, over to the other side. Mostly trying to keep the shoulders nice and stable as you move the lower end of things here with the legs and the pelvis. Do this one more time. Now when you're even on both sides and you come back to the center, you can pause there, grab hold of your right leg, stretch the left leg all the way out, and really give that left leg a nice big stretch right across the front of the hip. Or you can even rotate the left leg a little bit, internal to external rotation, just kind of wobble it in the socket there. And then let the left leg rest, and if you can, hold on to the right leg, awesome, and if you can't, don't worry about it, just bring the knee as closest to you as you can, and then spin your right foot in nice big circles. Lubricate the ankle joint a little bit, and then going the opposite direction. Point and flex your foot so that there's a real sense that you're getting a little movement in the ankle, but also spread out the toes and kind of squish them together as you go. So we're moving all the bones as best we can in the foot. All right, so if you can hold onto your leg, awesome. If you cannot do this without causing trouble for your hamstrings, let go of your leg. So we're going to flex the foot and then see how far the leg will go in terms of going towards straight, and then bring it back and give it a little hug in. So extend the leg, see where it'll go, bend the knee, give it a little hug in, and then extend the leg. Now we're going to leave the leg extended, but you can let go of it. Put your hands beside you. Now your arms are going to press down into the floor, particularly the upper arms. You're going to hug the sides of your waist in, so we're really drawing in through the sides. And then the left leg, we're going to rotate so the toes point up, flex the foot, and kind of dig the heel in just a little bit, bend that knee and try to lift the kneecap. So now all the muscles here in the body are active, and then we're going to move this right leg through a range of motion, starts across the body, sweeps a circle out, and comes back. So the idea is that the whole torso stays completely stable, and it's just the leg that's moving. So our holding stable is working against this pull from the leg. So we've got some resistance. So try to hold your torso nice and stable, keep the hips stable. When you get to the top, pause. Now we're going to do the opposite direction. So we're going to take the leg out to the side first, so this hip is really stabilizing. Then we're going to come straight up the center. So out to the side and straight up the middle. Hold steady with the sides of the waist and the upper arms and that left leg. Beautiful. Last one. Now when you get to the top, bring that knee in towards you again. Now we're going to curl the upper body off the floor. You can put your hands behind your head and press your head back into your hands, especially if you tend to overdo things with the neck muscles, okay? So that you can leave your hands here. You can do just the right arm out as we work, and then switch and do the left arm as that leg comes into play, or you can just let go with your hands and use both arms out here, okay? So this is really just dependent on how you work. So the right leg comes in, we're gonna curl a little bit through the abdominals, not pulling on the neck, but curling. Then switch legs, curl, okay? So back and forth. Single straight leg stretch. So that straight leg, we're reaching out. And then giving it a little extra curl. Nice and steady. 2 more. Now, you're gonna let your head rest. We're gonna take hold of this left leg. We're gonna let that right leg rest and then do that little rotation right around that right thigh there. Just let it shimmy. And then let your right leg rest to the degree possible, and we'll spin this left foot in circles. Go the opposite direction with the circles. And then point and flex the foot, and again, kind of giving yourself an opportunity to squish and spread out the toes along the way if you can. So again, either holding onto your left leg or letting it go. We're going to extend the leg and then bend the knee and give it a little hug. Extend the leg. Bend the knee, give it a little hug. Extend the leg. Bend the knee, and then one more time we're going to extend the leg and then let go of it. Now, I'm going to be running into my furniture, so I'm going to rotate a little bit here. But same idea. So I'm going to secure this right leg by turning the toes up, digging the heel just a little bit, bending at the knee. So I've got a really secure right leg. Squeeze the sides in. Upper arms nice and planted. Leg comes across the body and makes a circle out into the side. Right? So I'm going to really hug in, try to hold steady through this right side, while my left side's trying to make that hard. 2 more. When I get to the top, I'm going to pause there, take the leg out to the left, come to the center and straight up. Last one. All right, bringing the knee in, and then bringing the opposite knee in. Turn back around. We're gonna lift, again, lift the shoulders off the floor. Again, depending on whether you use your neck too much or not, you can put your hands back here and let your neck at least rest for the first part of the movement, straightening out the legs. You could leave the hands there, or you could let go and extend the arms and bring the hands back, or you can let the arms extend all the way from the waist up. Okay, so the torso stays nice and stable, and the limbs are trying to make it hard for this torso to remain stable. So maybe just legs, maybe legs and arms. Okay. Keeping the shoulders an even amount off the floor. And some of you will be able to curl in a little tighter than others. Keep your neck relaxed and do the work with your abs. Good, 3 more. Excellent. Now you can leave your head in your hands and keep the head up, or you can take the arms down and put them really close to the hips, or even slightly under the hips. The legs are going to go straight up. We're going to lower the legs down for a count of 4. Hold steady for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come on back, okay? So choose a position that's gonna work for your neck. Squeeze the legs together, heels touching, toes apart, and lower. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back. Lower. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back. We're going to do this twice more. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. 4, 3, 2, 1, come back. Make sure you're drawing the sides of your waist in. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1, squeeze in. 3, 2, 1, and come back. Release your legs. Give yourself a little bit of movement. I like the little windshield wipery movement with the legs pretty wide. Oh, pumpkin. Now we're going to do a little shoulder release work. So we're going to leave the legs in this constructive rest position where they're far enough apart and far enough away from you that it feels like the legs are quite heavy and relaxed into the hip sockets. If for whatever reason it feels like your legs want to collapse in or collapse out, you can adjust the feet either a little bit wider and let the thighs move toward each other, or you could even put a block between the knees or wrap a strap around the thighs just to kind of help hold them in place. I find generally I can find a spot where they'll rest. We're going to take the arms and just reach them down. I think I'm okay. We're going to reach the arms down kind of past the hips. And then just make sure that if you bring your arms all the way overhead, you're not going to run into any furniture. And if you can get the arms all the way to the floor, awesome. But if they don't go that far, don't worry about it. Just go as far as they go. So you're going to stretch through the arms, bring them all the way back. Keep stretching as you go. When they land on the floor again, you can relax for a moment. Take a nice big breath, and then exhale. Reach the arms out. Keep stretching. There might be an inhale somewhere in the middle of this. Give it a big stretch over your head, and then bring them all the way back. Stretch them down, and then bring them over your head. And we're just reaching through the arms the whole way, and then coming back. 2 more of those. Reach through the arms. Moving nice and smooth through the range of motion. Reach through the arms. And bring them all the way back. Notice if there's anything that, any part of the movement that feels a little weird or a little stitchy in your arm or shoulder. I can tell you which muscles actually got a problem. I'm not sure that I can answer those questions, but we might be able to. And then we're coming back. Now, with the arms resting for a moment, you're going to bend at the elbow. We're going to grab a hold of both elbows. And then if you look, there's going to be an arm that's closer to you and one that's farther away. So for me, my right arm is closer to my face. Left arm is the one on top. So I'm just going to remember that I'm going to hold onto my right elbow, okay? So we're going to reach through the elbows, bring the arms up and overhead. Keep stretching the elbows away from you as you come back to about your chest. Right? So lift, like push the elbows away and bring them up and over. And then bring them back to your chest. And one more time, push the elbows away, bring them up and over. And bring them back to the chest. Now, we're going to grab hold of this right upper arm. That's the one that was on top for me. Whichever one is your top arm, you're going to pull that arm across your body and then try to get heavier in that shoulder. So we're taking the shoulder blade, drawing it in and towards the floor while simultaneously applying pressure with the opposite hand so that it's really difficult to try to get that shoulder blade to the ground. Two more breaths. Now release the pressure, let that shoulder blade hit the floor. You can give it a little wobble and just see if there's a difference between the way that shoulder blade feels versus the opposite one in terms of its relationship to the ground. Give whatever arm that was you were just working with a little shake, and then grab the opposite arm so that the other arm is in front. So now my left arm is the one that's closer to me, to my face anyway. That's what I perceive to be me. Just stretch the elbows up and then take your arms overhead. I might need to analyze that later. So reaching through the arms, bring it all the way around, put it back on the chest, and then stretch through the elbows and come all the way up and overhead if you can. Beautiful. Bring the arms back, stretch it through, and then come in on back. Okay, bringing the elbows up, and coming on back. All right, so now as we get back to the chest, still stretching through the elbows, pause when you get to the top, grab hold of that upper arm, pull it across, and then you're going to resist with that elbow. So now I'm holding onto my left upper arm, pulling it across with my right, and then my left shoulder blade is trying to plant itself back down on the floor. So I'm getting this little isometric work. Nothing's really moving anywhere because the resistance is equal to the amount of effort I'm putting to get the shoulder blade down. But I can feel something happening there under the shoulder blade, which is where I'm aiming at. 2 more breaths. And then I'm going to let that shoulder blade come all the way back. Give that arm a little shimmy. All right, we got 1 more to go. This time we're going to roll onto our side. So you're going to need something to put under your head. I'm going to use a block, but you could use anything you've got. Some people might be comfortable letting their head rest on the floor. I prefer to keep mine more or less aligned with my neck. So hopefully you can see this. I've got my right arm is resting on the floor because I'm laying on my right side. Left arm is up top, and I'm just going to make sure that I can make a full range of motion without running into the furniture with my left arm. So you reach through the left arm, we're going to go up, circle back, so we're stretching through the chest, and then bring it on back. Okay. So reach up. Now again, this range of motion, we're trying to go for a complete range of motion, but in the event that you've got something that feels really stitchy or sore, you can kind of skip over that part or just pause there and come back. So I'm going to do 2 more of these little sweeps. As I'm doing this overhead part, I'm really stretching through the arm. When I get to about this chest height part, I really let it get softer and come on back. So reaching up and over, and then just bringing it on back. So we got to do the opposite side. So once you're done with one side, you can pause for a moment to see how the shoulders went. Now I'm going to turn away from you, but the same thing is going to happen. So we're going to roll onto the opposite side. I'm going to make sure that I can do a full range of motion here without running into any furniture. I think we're going to be good on this side. So reaching the arm out, stretching up and over, circling it around, and bringing it back. Reaching the arm out, circling it around, and bringing it back. Reaching it out, circling it around, and bringing it back. We're going to do that twice more, stretching out, stretching out. All right, yogis, so when you're done there, you can come back to your back if you want to, give yourself a little shake, or from here we can roll right onto the belly. And that's where we're going to wind up together eventually. So placing the hands beside your shoulder, or like just under the shoulder, spread the hands out nice and wide so you've got a big starfishy hand. Reach out through your legs. We're going to press the front of the hip down, top of the thigh into the floor, and the tops of the toes, and then lift into a cobra so that it's all back muscles. Hands plant on the floor, and then we draw the collarbones nice and wide. Okay, and then come on back down. Slide the hands back about 1 inch. Spread the fingers out, nice big palms. Lift into cobra, collarbones wide. Coming back down. Be mindful of overdoing it with your neck. Nice wide hands, legs are active. Press them down, lift into cobra. Come on down. Now from here, we're going to do it twice more, but the palms may wind up not completely touching the ground. Just push your fingertips into the floor. Lift into cobra. Coming back down. One more time, lifting into cobra. Coming back down. So we're going to let the legs kind of windshield wiper back and forth a little bit. And then we're going to bring ourselves up to all fours. Correct any wardrobe malfunctions. And then from all fours, you can do several rounds of cat. So the tuck and the tilt and the pelvis. You can also do little sidewindery cats where you sort of look over one side and the other. I like to include some kind of movement in that direction. As long as you feel like there's some nice movement in your back, we're in good shape. Now we're going to come to what feels like neutral. Take the right leg back behind, the left arm out in front. Give it a good long reach. Hold steady for 2 more breaths. Then we're going to curl the knee and the elbow in, round up, and stretch back out. Curl it in, stretch back out. Curl it in, stretch back out. Last time, curl it in. Stretch out, really reach. We're going to put the hand down, bring that right leg all the way forward for a lunge. Take a moment now, you're going to bring your hip forward, but you're looking for the spot that feels like that's the right amount. Hold steady for 2 more breaths. And then we're going to ease the hips back, fold over the front leg. We're going to ease the weight forward, take that leg back, give it a little shake. Come back to neutral. Take that left leg out behind you, right arm out in front, stretch between those 2 points. Nice big long reach. 1 more breath, and then we'll curl it in. Curl, stretch back out. Curl, stretch back out. Curl, stretch back out. Last time, curl, stretch out. Now put that hand down, bring that left leg forward, come into the lunge. One more breath. And we're going to ease the hips back, fold over the front leg. Okay. Now you're going to come back to all fours, give that leg a little stretch, a little shake. And then you can come to downward facing dog. Let's start at the top of the mat. What the heck? I don't know what you guys are up to. Okay. So, there are days, y'all. So we're going to point the toes forward. Find a mountain pose. Compose yourself. Take a couple of deep breaths. Thank you very much, by the way, for the, for the allowance. Take a nice big breath, reach your arms overhead. We're gonna side bend to the left. Oh. Come on back to the center, give it a big stretch. Oh. Side bend to the right. Oh. Give it a stretch down the center and fold forward. Now, if you were doing something else and you're kind of catching up, just catch me along the way somewhere. Come up halfway if that's all right. And then you're gonna step back into downward dog. Oh. Okay. From downward dog, we're gonna come into a plank. Now you can do a full plank. You could even add onto it by taking one leg in the air, or you can modify the plank by bringing the knees down. We're gonna hold here for about 3 more breaths. We'll take a big inhale, and then lower down. You can go all the way or halfway, come into cobra, locust, or upward dog. And then we're gonna come back to down dog. Take that right leg up when you get there. Exhale, bring that knee to your upper left arm or as close as you can get it. Oh, sorry, upper right arm. Stretch back. Exhale, bring it to your upper right arm. If you did the twist, that's good too. Stretch it back. Bring it to the upper arm. Now we're gonna sink into the heel a bit. Stretch that right leg up as high as it'll go. And then step that foot forward as far as it'll go in one step. Now shift your weight into your leg so you can bring your left foot down for warrior 2. And then if you can come up, take your time as needed to come to warrior 2. Find your pose. So we're gonna come on back. So you can skip the up and down movement and go from a standing pose to a warrior 2 on the second side if you want. Oh. Coming back and forth if that feels okay. If it doesn't, just hold it steady. Good, 2 more. Now we're gonna take a triangle pose, so straightening out the front leg, kind of ease your way down. You can use a block if you like. Ooh. Expand out, breathe. One more big breath. Now, you're either going to step up to the top of the mat to hold mountain pose, or come back to downward dog. Whichever one you like better, or appreciate more given the circumstances. And then from dog, coming forward into plank. Again, you could hold that opposite leg up, or come to the modification. Hold it steady, 3 more breaths. Big inhale, exhale, lower down, coming into your back bend of choice. And coming back to dog. And then again, we'll take that left leg up with us. Exhale, bring it to your upper left arm, whatever you did last time. Reach it back, bring it in, reach it back, bring it in. Stretch back, sink into your heel a bit, stretch through the left leg. Step that foot forward, bring your heel to the ground and take your time coming up. So we'll take that warrior 2 on the other side. Once you're steady, come on back to reverse and over for side angle. Taking one more big breath, straightening out the front leg, and then we'll bring that into our triangle pose. Take one more big breath. Okay, so we're gonna come down to the floor. So coming back to down dog one more time. If down dog's not gonna work, just go straight to plank. And then walk your heels up and down a little bit. Just see if it's any different than the first one you did. And then we're gonna come to plank. And again, you can hold it steady in whichever version is right. 2 more breaths. You can switch legs if you have one up. We're gonna lower all the way down. Turn the head to one side. Keep the knees bent. Now you can lace your fingers together or just put one palm on top of the other, or you can just let your arms rest beside you. We're gonna kick the heels in, 1, 2, 3, then we're gonna lift. Everything draws towards the midline, get as high as it makes sense to get off the floor. Come down opposite side if you can on your cheek. 1, 2, 3, lift. Nice and easy. 1, 2, 3, lift. Coming down. 1, 2, 3, lift. Return. 1, 2, 3, lift. Return. 1, 2, 3, lift. We're going to do one more on each side. Return. 1, 2, 3, lift. Return. 1, 2, 3, lift, and then return. Now, extend your right arm up. We're gonna roll onto that right arm. Hips on top of hips, shoulders on top of shoulders. Legs either lined up for a kind of medium amount of challenge, slightly forward for more stability, or you could even elevate the legs a little bit more for a little bit bigger challenge. We're gonna turn the heels together, toes apart. So we've got an external rotation of that top leg, definitely, maybe both. And then we're gonna circle this top leg, trying to hold steady by squeezing the sides of the waist in and hugging in through the ribs a little bit, through the abdominals. Try to hold the torso nice and stable. You can put your hand up in front if you need a little extra stability. 2 more. And then pause for a moment. We're going to internally rotate. So we're going to turn the toes toward each other. The bottom leg can rest if you're not hovering it. This greater trochanter, little bone on your thigh, is pointing up now. And then we're going to circle that leg. And I find this one a little bit more challenging to control. So I'm really squeezing in through my abs. Trying to hug in and lift my right side waist towards my left. 2 more, 1 more, and then bring the legs back towards each other. So we're gonna stay in this territory of working this outer hip. Move a little bit forward. Bring the heels back. We're gonna lift the heels, leave the knees together. So keep the hips nice and stacked on top of each other, shoulders nice and stable, knees open, extend that top leg, bring the toes together, bring the knees together. So we're just gonna go back and forth, just like that. So we're gonna do 3 more. Last one. All right, now legs come out. We're gonna take this top leg, bring it across. You can bend that knee, put the foot on the ground, reach through that bottom leg. That's my right leg. I'm gonna lift my right side waist, and then I'm gonna pulse this leg up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold it lifted. Really lift that side waist for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Lift it a little more. 3, 2, 1, and then bring that leg down. So we're gonna take this to the opposite side. You could just theoretically roll over, or you can do that little spin So you can stay pointing the same direction. Okay, hips on top of hips, shoulders on top, toes apart. Maybe the legs are lifted, maybe that bottom leg is touching the ground. Lift the top leg, and we're gonna hug in through the sides of the waist. Really try to hold steady as we make those little circles. And then we're gonna pause, rotate the toes together so that we get this internal rotation, and then we're gonna really hug in as we circle the opposite way. Ooh. Try to hold that nice and stable. Oh, it's harder for me on this side, or on this direction. 2 more, last one, and then come back together. Feet come together, and then move behind you, and then lift the feet, keep the knees together. So we're set up. Now make sure the hip hasn't rolled forward, shoulder is still nice and stable, knees open. You can leave it just like that and hold steady, or you can extend the leg and come back. So either hold it and return, or kick it out and return. The only reason you would want to not kick out potentially is if it causes trouble for your knee. Sometimes if the hip isn't strong enough, the knee will pay the price. So we'll just kind of work one day at a time. All right, we got 3 more to go. Last one. All right, so then you'll stretch your legs back out, bring that top leg across in some way. You can leave it out straight, you can bend it, whatever's the right way for you. Reach out through that leg that's on the bottom. For me, that's my left. We're gonna lift this left side waist, hug in through the right side waist, and then we're gonna pulse that up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, hold steady now. Lift that side waist again. Hold it. 10, 9, 8, 7. Lift it again. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Don't let it go yet. 1. And then we'll bring it back down. Now, we're going to roll onto our back. Oh, take a moment just there to integrate all this movement. And then we'll stretch out for a few moments of relaxation. If, again, if you have to bolt out early, definitely leave me a little note that says you were here so I can make sure to count. I really appreciate you guys being understanding this morning with chaos. So sometimes for me, especially right after a ton of core work, I feel a little bit energized. So when you stretch out and try to relax, there might be that kind of buzz or that hum. So just notice that and see if you can sort of enjoy feeling that, that little extra burst of energy. If you've got things to do with your brain today, you can kind of channel that into your brain a little bit. If you need to get things done today, just kind of let that energy build up, and when we're done, you can go use it to get things done. It's good chi. It's nice to see kind of how the practice impacts us physically. And see if we can kind of consciously relax into that. yogis, we're going to take a nice big breath. Let go with a really big sigh. Give yourself a little wiggle of your fingers and toes. Stretch out your hands. Give your wrist and ankles a little movement. And give your whole body a nice stretch from one end to the other. Oh. Bring your knees in, give yourself a little hug. Oh. When you're ready, yogis, come to a seated position. So thank you so much for joining me and for being patient while ridiculous nonsense went down. Let's take a big old breath together. And a big sigh. Namaste, yogis. So if you want to chat me up, turn your mics back on.